Hey everybody, welcome back to another ChapterCast video. So, today we're going to talk about something that sounds a little serious. The word is punishment. I know, it sounds like something your parents would say in a very deep voice when you drew on the walls with a permanent marker. But in the world of science, and specifically in behavior modification, punishment is just a tool. It's not about being mean or angry. It's simply a way to help decrease a certain behavior. Think of it like this. If you keep bumping into a table in the dark, you eventually learn to walk around it. The bump is the punishment that makes you change your path. It's a natural part of learning. Now let's get one thing straight right away. When scientists and therapists talk about punishment, they aren't necessarily talking about spanking or yelling. In their world, punishment is a consequence that follows a behavior and makes that behavior less likely to happen again in the future. That's it. It's all about cause and effect. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful when you start to notice it happening all around you. In big ways and in small ways. We're all just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, so let's dive into the details. Alright, let's dive into the details. It's like learning a new dance move. First, you have to break it down. In the world of behavior, there are two main types of punishment. Positive punishment, negative punishment. Now, the words positive and negative here don't mean good and bad. Think of them in the same way as in math. Positive means you are adding something. Negative means you are taking something away. First up, positive punishment. Positive punishment happens when you add an unpleasant consequence that makes the behavior less likely. For example, if a child touches a hot stove, the pain they feel is an added consequence. On the other hand, negative punishment involves taking away something pleasant. A parent might take away a toy when siblings fight. The loss of that desirable item should make the fighting less likely. Positive punishment, you do something, and something you don't like is added. Think parking ticket. Negative punishment, you do something and something you like is taken away. For example, the phone was removed for curfew violations. Both aim to decrease behavior. One adds a negative, the other removes a positive. Now let's talk about the thing that actually does the punishing, the punisher. A punisher is any event, object, or stimulus that, when it follows a behavior, causes that behavior to happen less often. It could be a parking ticket, a loud noise, pain, or the loss of a privilege. It's the thing that makes you go, oof, I'm not doing that again. The punisher is the key ingredient. Without it, there's no punishment. It's like making a cake without flour. It won't work. When the child touched the hot stove, the pain was the punisher. When the teen lost their phone, the removal of the phone acted as the punisher. A punisher doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be a look, a sound, a fee, or a feeling. It can be a sound, a feeling, a financial cost, or loss of privilege, defined by its effect on behavior. Remember, something is only a punisher if it actually decreases the behavior. If a teacher scolds a student and the student quiets down, the scolding was a punisher. If the student seeks attention and talks more, the scolding reinforced the behavior instead. A speeding ticket can make you slow down. Sour milk can make you check the date next time. A disappointed look from a friend can also act as a punisher by making you think twice. The punisher is the feedback the world gives you. Identifying the right one is key to ethical behavior change. What matters is how people respond. Let's look at two common techniques next: timeout and response cost. Now let's get into some specific strategies that fall under negative punishment. Two common techniques are timeout and response cost. Timeout, formally timeout from positive reinforcement, means removing a person from a fun, reinforcing environment for a brief period. You remove access to toys and friends so the child experiences loss of reinforcement. The goal is to make the child want to avoid that loss of fun in the future. Important: the time and environment must be reinforcing. Otherwise, removing it won't make a difference. Response cost involves deducting a specific amount of a reinforcer, such as tokens, points, or money. Think of a library fine or a parking ticket. The lost money is the response cost. With timeout, you lose access to all reinforcers briefly. With response cost, you lose a specific reinforcer, but may remain in the environment. You pay the parking ticket, response cost, but you aren't banned from driving, not a timeout from driving. For both to work, they must be clear, immediate, and directly related to the behavior. If the person doesn't care about the lost reinforcer, response cost won't be effective. Removing broccoli from a kid who hates it isn't a cost. Used correctly and fairly, these are practical tools for parents, teachers, and systems. But they must be ethical. Next, let's consider where punishers get their power. whether they are born with it or learned it. Okay, so we know what a punisher is, but where do punishers get their power? Do we have to learn that they're bad, or are some things naturally punishing? Unconditioned punishers, or primary punishers, are naturally punishing. You're born ready to react to them. Examples include extreme heat or cold, loud noises, physical pain, and very sour or bitter tastes. Conditioned punishers are learned neutral stimuli that gain power through association with unconditioned punishers. For example, the word no isn't painful at first, but if it precedes loss or unpleasant events, it becomes a punisher. See the red glowing coil, initially neutral. After a burn, it's associated with pain and becomes a conditioned punisher. Just seeing it later will make the child pull their hand back. A failing grade is a conditioned punisher. The symbol itself isn't painful but signals negative outcomes. A siren, a ticket on the windshield, or a stern tone can all be conditioned punishers for many people. Through repeated pairing, neutral stimuli gain punishing power. The world teaches us what to avoid. This learning happens all the time and shapes our behavior in subtle ways. Some punishers become paired with so many negative events that they generalize, such as social disapproval. Next up, a special kind called generalized conditioned punishers. Think of them as multitaskers. A generalized conditioned punisher is something paired with many different punishers, so it's effective widely. Think of it as an all-purpose punisher or a master key that reduces many behaviors. A notable example is social disapproval, such as a frown or a headshake. Because it has been paired with many negative outcomes, such as loss, embarrassment, and detention, the frown itself becomes powerful. Across life, in school, work, and at home, the same signals of disapproval often stop many behaviors. Just getting that look can be enough to make most people stop. Money can be a generalized conditioned punisher. Losing it prevents access to almost all reinforcers. Losing money means you can't buy food, pay rent, or go to the movies, so it's broadly punishing. A parking ticket represents loss of money and therefore can change behavior for many people. Generalized punishers are like master keys. They unlock behavior change across contexts. Criticism, social rejection, and the word no are shorthand for social learning, efficient ways to stop many behaviors. Because these cues are paired with many punishers, they work almost anywhere. They save society the effort of inventing a unique punisher for every mistake. Next, the ultimate showdown, punishment versus reinforcement. Okay, this is a big one. Punishment versus reinforcement. People mix these up all the time. They're opposites. Reinforcement makes a behavior happen more often. Positive reinforcement, add something good to increase a behavior, like a sticker for cleaning your room. Negative reinforcement, removing something unpleasant to increase a behavior. For example, taking aspirin to alleviate a headache. Positive punishment, add something unpleasant to decrease a behavior, like spraying a barking dog with water. Negative punishment, removing something good to decrease a behavior. For example, taking away car keys for curfew violations. 2 quick questions. Was something added or taken away? And did the behavior increase or decrease? Added = positive, taken away = negative. Increase = reinforcement, decrease = punishment. Don't confuse negative reinforcement with punishment. Negative reinforcement increases behavior. You buckle your seatbelt to stop a beeping sound. The removal of the beeping reinforces buckling, negative reinforcement. Fill the grid with examples and you'll spot these everywhere. Reinforcement increases behavior, punishment decreases it. At work, at home, and in school, rewards foster desired habits, while punishments discourage undesired ones. Let's see how this plays out in everyday settings. So now that we're all experts on the science, how does this work at home and at school? When used thoughtfully, punishment can set boundaries and teach appropriate behavior. If a toddler throws food and dinner is immediately over, that's a form of negative punishment. The pleasant activity of eating was removed as a consequence. A timeout can be effective for behaviors like hitting or snatching toys when applied immediately and briefly. It should be immediate, brief, and directly related to the behavior. In class, teachers might use a response cost, removing points if students call out of turn. Detention can be viewed as adding an unpleasant block of time, which is considered a form of positive punishment in some frameworks. Many classrooms now teach replacement behaviors and use lots of positive reinforcement. For punishment to work, be immediate, consistent, explain the correct behavior, and keep punishment limited. Don't just say stop. Explain what to do. Say, please use your walking feet indoors. Punishment should never be the main strategy. Reinforce the do's more than punishing the don'ts. A response cost, such as using allowance to replace a broken crayon, can teach responsibility. When used properly, punishment is a temporary guidepost to steer children back onto a praise-filled path. Remember, the long-term foundation should be praise, encouragement, and reinforcement. Okay, time to wrap up what we've learned about punishment today. Wow, we made it! We danced our way through a whole lot of science. So let's take a moment and wrap it all up. Punishment isn't about being angry. It's a consequence that follows a behavior and makes it less likely to happen again. We broke down two main types: positive punishment, add unpleasant, and negative punishment, take away pleasant. Specific strategies include timeout, remove access, and response cost, lose tokens or money. Some punishers are unconditioned, pain, heat. Others are conditioned, F siren, the word no. Generalized conditioned punishers like social disapproval or loss of money work across many situations. Punishment decreases a behavior, reinforcement increases it. That's the key takeaway. Use punishment sparingly, ethically, and always pair it with lots of positive reinforcement. A healthy environment is built on catching people doing things right and celebrating them. Thanks for watching. If you like this chapter-style explainer, subscribe for more. Be kind to one another. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing to more ChapterCast video summaries, which help make studying for class or exams less stressful, allowing for more self-care time in your schedule. See you next time.